And now, it's about that time.
Pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4. Here we go, Roger.
With the coach, Mickey Clayton on INSiiGHTS. 2 eyes in the middle. INSiiGHTS, where we always talk the talk.
Testing.
Got you.
You got me?
I do.
Continue to
work
through
Sports talk.
on both ends.
No
doubt about that.
Traveling the country for the biggest stories in collegiate sports. Bringing you the news that will impact every college athlete in America. From the Ivy League to the SWAC, Big Sky to the Big Ten, Notre Dame, FAMU, Miami or Maine. No university is too big, no college too small.
Talk that talk.
We tell it all. INSiiGHTS Sports Talk.
And we're going to have to get
With your
that.
hosts, the coach, Mickey Clayton and Clayton Smith. They're bringing you insight.
Good morning there, Rick.
How are you, Coach?
I'm doing great there, my jump shot shooting friend.
Yes.
You still shooting that jump on him?
No, I'm passing now, man.
Oh, Lord.
Pass.
All the time I was trying to get you to pass, you wanted to shoot. Now you pass.
Well, that was when I could, I could get up, I could jump a little bit, I could dunk a little bit, but now, now I'm let the younger people do this now.
Oh, you're letting the younger people doing that. Yeah, right. Yeah. Age will make you do that. Oh, Rick, letting the younger people do it. Right.
It's a great, man.
Yeah. I got you, Rick.
It's all about the gray.
It's all about the gray. Is that what you said? All about the gray? At least you have something that'll turn gray.
Hey, but like I said, but don't get it twisted, though. I can still go.
Oh, see, I was waiting on that DC to come out of you.
Ain't nothing changed. I
knew that DC would come out of my boy. Oh, man, we had a show, two guys from Cleveland, we were talking about this interesting coaching change with the Cavaliers. And, then they played their first game. We tried to play up-tempo, and they got tired. Rick, explain that to me. How you get tired?
To do a coaching, yeah. If you're going to do a coaching change, if you're going to change the system, shouldn't you have the players already in place who can play this system? That's kind of funny to me, man. I mean, look, I like Tyronn Lue. I mean, he's Tyronn Lue. He's a good kid, but I'm still bitter that your boys, LeBron in particular, got rid of David Black. I thought he was a fine coach, but I know personalities and the NBA is whatever. But you can't get tired. You can't do that. You cannot run that style system midway through the season. It makes no sense. It's going to be it's going to take time to develop that. And I don't think you should do that in the middle of a season.
Okay, let me back up a little bit, because you listened to the show that we had over the weekend with two guys from Cleveland, and you know that we had a debate on that. And I don't particularly believe that it's LeBron as much as everybody's saying it is. I think a lot of it was Kevin Love. And the more stuff comes out now, nobody was particularly happy playing with Blatt, except for Matthew Dellavedova, who, Blatt kind of identified with him as the hard-working walk-on kid, and he did get better from last year. Still mugging people on defense, but can't stop a guard from penetrating. But, he mugs you and beats you to death. Curry was about to fight him last year. But they didn't sign Mo Williams to sit behind Dellavedova. Get out of here. Now, I think that still, for what he was trying to do and the defense he was trying to play, which got him to the finals, we obviously didn't have a offensive players to score. So, in the playoffs, it's about being able to play defense. And that course, I mean, they emptied their tank. They did what they could do. But Kevin Love was not a fan of his. And the articles that came out over the weekend, they said that when they called a team meeting, the guys actually thought that somebody had got traded, that Kevin Love had got traded. And back in Israel, David Blatt had told his friends that it was either going to be Kevin Love or him. We see who won that one. No, so LeBron, as we read more and more, he tried to stay away from it, out of the fray. But the guys didn't particularly like playing for him. And you could tell, I mean, he had some questionable things that he did. Mo Williams went from averaging 15, 16 points a game to Irving coming back and not playing at all and sitting on the bench. And playing behind Dellavedova. I wasn't really impressed with how Mozgov was playing coming after the knee injury, but he still just, he was almost playing like Big Soft in the middle. So, as the story goes on, people, I mean, it was an excellent story, came out, one of the Cleveland beat writers saying that he caught a lot of heat why he didn't tell people that the foundation was cracking. And he said, who would believe us? You're a beat writer. You cover Tampa. And as you get privy to certain things, you have to choose what you'll write and not write. And some things you write, you don't want to betray a confidence that you may have with a player. Or the fact that the guy told you, man, he getting killed in practice every day, but, coach still running him out there. And then you go out and you write it. Tell me a little bit how, being a beat writer, what position that puts you in terms of things that you actually see, and then what you can really write to the public that then doesn't have you blasted in social media that you wrote or said something, and the player who doesn't think it was positive come out and say, I didn't tell Rick that.
Yeah, the thing here, and it is a fine balance between keeping your confident, your loyalties within the locker room, as well as remaining a journalist. I had a couple players that I struggled with this early on with. One of the guys who's no longer on the team I've covered him since high school. So, of course, I had a good relationship with him, and he would just tell me things that, Josh Freeman didn't come to football practice. He didn't come. He was late for this meeting and whatnot. But they're getting on me for this. And if I wrote anything, they would know it was coming directly from him. So I usually didn't. Later on, what you have to do is you have to develop sources within the sources, or what I'd say is diversionary sources. So you can get something from someone and then confirm it with your boy, and then you're set, because they may think it's coming from him. If they don't see you talking, they're not sure. So where it could be coming from someone totally different. So you really have to do that to protect them, the players, as well as, because we don't really care what social media thinks. We don't care what you guys, we just want you to read us for the most part. We don't care if you agree with us or not, or at least I don't. I don't want you to agree with everything I write. That means I'm not doing something right.
Okay.
That's how you.
Okay, because you get put in a spot in terms of you breaking a story that maybe nobody else really has. And then you get placed with trying to make sure that what you write or talk about doesn't put you in a bad position. So you could kind of imagine the spot that some of the Cavalier beat writers were on.
Yeah. I could, if no one would believe that. But if you see, the thing is, we're in a competitive market. If you have something and you know it's true, you got to go with it. You got to go with it. I mean, because if you don't, it's gonna come out some kind of way.
Okay.
Eventually.
Did that ever happen to you, Rick? And you had to run something that you might have been one of the lead people to run that story?
No, but I had had something that I had, and it came out later, and I'm upset with that, but I didn't give up I didn't give up my guy,
Okay.
so I'm okay with it in that instance. But looking back at it, it started the whole Greg Schiano down the pipe thing.
Okay.
And when I knew some stuff, and I was like, man, if I ran this, man, my boys gonna get jacked.
Right.
And I couldn't do it. And that was not because I'm friends with anyone, but because you don't want to burn that contact. You just don't. Because other players they're watching you, and they're seeing how you handle certain things, and they know if they can trust you or not, or if you're just trying to make a name for yourself.
Okay. And for another example is Brandon Haywood, who played with the Cavaliers last year.
Big Softy.
Yeah. And was valuable because of his expiring contract, which allowed him to do some things. And came out, and he was one of the players who talked about, I mean, very early in the interview, they had him on ESPN on the radio, and they had him discuss some of the things that he knew firsthand and from contacts that he still had with the Cavaliers. And one thing that he did, I thought that he answered some very candid questions, and there were times you could see his brain turning and the little knob going around in his forehead while he was trying to make sure that he said what was politically correct. But it was very revealing in terms of the players and how they felt about David Blatt, and even in terms of how he treated LeBron, which we know LeBron is a handful, and that's one of the things that made Michael Jordan special. Everything you always heard about Michael was that he was the most competitive person in the gym. And even when he retired, if Mike walked in the gym, the intensity and everything went up 150% because Mike just felt like he was just going to whip your ass. He didn't care what. And they always say, as a coach, it's really easy to guide the ship when your best player is your hardest worker too, and sets the tone. And I'm sure that they had to do some things, that Mike thought needed to be done that everybody else couldn't do. But, at the end of the day, most of the time, LeBron comes to play, even though he does have his moments when he sulks on the floor, fussing about a call that didn't get made and doesn't run back down the floor and stuff like that. And I just read something about David Griffin. They said in a film session, he was the one who told LeBron that he needed to get back down the floor and that he wasn't pushing it and going up and down the floor. And the team kind of just stopped and looked and said, wow, it takes him to come in and tell Bron that. So, I mean, that situation in itself is different. But have you heard about the Israelis, how they're blaming LeBron for David Blatt getting fired and now being the most hated person in the country?
I hadn't heard, but I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could see that. Reached the top, the pinnacle of ball, and now everyone needs a villain when a person doesn't succeed, and that villain is easy to place that on LeBron. Mm-hmm. Like LeBron really cares, though.
No, not that he's planning a trip over there with his family and everything, anyway, huh?
Right, exactly. Yeah. I guess I won't be going there this summer.
This summer, not like at South Beach.
Not gonna happen, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, tell me what you thought about Tyron saying that. About Tyron,
Jamaica or Dominican, that might be a little different.
What is your thought on Tyron saying that David Blatt should coach the All-Star game?
Why? He's no longer a coach in the NBA.
Some think that it was a slap in the face for him to say that.
He probably was trying to say the right thing. Mm. He was on his staff, and he probably doesn't want to seem like a traitor. I mean, we talked about this, how assistant coaches, once they become head coaches of that same team, should they be loyal to the head coach or go for their own political or their own aspirations of being a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure for Lou, he was just trying to say, hey, look, he's a great guy. He should still be the coach of the All. It's a shame this has happened to him. Give him the All-Star game. I don't think he was trying to be malicious or anything like that.
And see, I didn't either. I thought they were making a lot out of nothing. And it's kind of hard to be in that, in those shoes coming behind him. When they asked him what they were going to do differently, he said, basketball-wise, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to do it better. He has to show that he's going to bring something different. I mean, that's just the way it is. But I didn't take that maliciously at all. Now, what was your thought on one of your Panthers this week broke his arm? He said, but he playing in the Super Bowl. I'm not mad at it.
Thomas Davis, I mean, he's waited so long for this. This guy was named to his first Pro Bowl this year. He's not going to be able to go. I don't think he minds because he's going to his first Super Bowl. I understand. I mean, this is the pinnacle game. This is the game. This is what you played for you dreamed for all your life. Of course, you want to play,
right?
But if that chicken wing ain't working, though, I don't know how effective you're gonna be, especially at that position he played.
They need that chicken wing.
So, see, I mean, I believe he's gonna try, but I don't think if it's broken like they said, I don't think he's gonna make it.
Oh boy, I hear you. He won't be able to do it. Now we got the old school versus the new school in the Super Bowl. We got Peyton Manning and Cam. You couldn't find a more diverse pairing for quarterbacks than those two on two separate ends of the spectrum. And I know you probably going for Cam, but I'm going with old school Peyton. I'd like for him to go out. A winner.
Oh, he's gonna go out all right, but he's gonna have to deal with that Carolina defense, and that Carolina defense ain't no joke. Now, don't get me wrong. Von Miller played his tail off against New England. Whoever was that daggone tackle, I know he's having Von Miller nightmares because he was getting destroyed over there. Von Miller was just killing him.
Looked like a video game, didn't it?
And I loved it. I like seeing it. Yeah, it was. It really was. It had Tom Brady dancing in the pocket.
Didn't it?
I'd never seen, somebody said on Twitter, it looked like he had just caught the Holy Ghost. The way he was dancing and no one was around him. It was just like, it was just conflicted. It was so wild. But he heard, he had the Holy Ghost. He had Von Miller sighting. That's what it was.
That was the Holy Ghost.
It should be a good game. It should be Cam Newton, who people are starting to warm up to now. At first, people said he had an attitude. He didn't know how to be a leader. Blah blah blah. I mean, I think he's led this team, and what he's done on the field is amazing. I mean, with that offense, with those players. Getting them to this spot. Good job, Cam. You are the MVP of this league. And for Peyton, this is his last hurrah. I mean, it should be anyway. He great career, and what better place than to finish it in. Let's rock. Let's do this. Super Bowl 50. Let us do this. Only thing better to see would be a Janet Jackson. Never mind.
Oh, there you go. Well, you could always put Beyonce in there and make it a little bit more up to date, and we'll go with that too. Or Rihanna, isn't she supposed to be there? Right? But she doesn't always keep her clothes on for stuff. Oh, that's why you. Well, okay. Let's move on. Let's go on. Cam, compare Cam to your boy down there in Tampa. Compare him to Jameis.
Well, if you look at them, both from Alabama, both Heisman Trophy winners, both the number one pick from a team that was 2-14 the year before. Those things are similar. On the field, though, is a lot different because Cam is a better athlete, or he uses his legs more than Jameis does. I'm not going to say Jameis is the better pocket passer, but once Jameis gets more experience, I think he will be. I think Cam showed yesterday that he can stand in that pocket and sling that ball too. I mean, he threw for 335 yards or something like that yesterday with 2 touchdowns. Both tall, both hard to get down. The Bucs fans are hoping that Jameis can become Cam. That's what they're hoping for, because right now the difference is clear. It's almost like Florida A&M's band against Bethune-Cookman's band. The difference is clear.
No, he didn't say that.
Yeah, I did.
But
the difference is.
But I'm gonna leave you and your band analogy alone. But I tend to think that Jameis might be more Peyton Manning than Cam.
Oh, indeed. Or you could even go, maybe more Tom Brady than Cam. I think he has better wheels than Peyton Manning. But
Peyton's wheels were like that when he was young, more than likely, and haven't seen him then too. But the comparison between Jameis and Cam is mostly because they're black Heisman Trophy winners, and all black quarterbacks aren't the same. And Jameis is just a little bit more. He's more step back pass than roll out. Now he will do whatever it takes to win, but I'm sure Tampa pretty much wants him to stay in the pocket and find his secondary receivers that take off trying to run. And I think that as long as he kind of does that, he's going to continue to grow. He had a heck of a rookie season and threw the ball a lot better than people thought, and did a great job in leading the team. Did you see that down there, his maturity level grow in terms of how he related to his team?
Yeah, most definitely. Early on in the season, he was very, I don't want to say shy, but he would let the veterans do most of the talking. As the season progressed and he started having more success, you could see his confidence growing, and you could see him starting to do more things. And it starts with pregame huddles, pregame speeches before games, and then that generates into postgame speeches after games, and then it becomes, hey, this is my team, which by the end of the season it had become his team. And so you did see the growth of him, both on and off the field.
Okay, listeners, for those who have a question, hashtag MicknRick, MicknRick, and we'll get to you. If it's not this show, we'll get to you the next show. But MicknRick. But we did have somebody send us something there, Rick, and their question was, is Greg Popovich a madman or a brilliant genius in not playing Tim Duncan tonight?
Brilliant genius. There's not too much Pop does that I question, except his interviews between the quarters with the reporters. I think he gives us hell. But other than that, I mean, right now, Pop doesn't care about the first 82 games. He cares about and so he's going to get the players as much rest as they need to reach that goal, to get to the playoffs, be healthy there, and be ready to go. Hey, who is it about, Pop? I don't care. This game, even against OKC, the fans want to see it. I mean, one great franchise, one team who's had a great year and coming off in this year. The fans, this is great. But, Pop is like, been there, done that. We're not trying to be the regular season champs. We're trying to be world champions. So I understand. I don't mind.
And see, like I said, he discarded. He's not really hung up on trying to see who wins the most games now. And It was just, as soon as we heard that he wasn't playing, we instantly knew what that meant. That he was not going to allow you film on everything that we do. And he really didn't care what anybody thought about it. And they were showing Draymond Green when they said, well, the old man's not playing. He said, what are you talking about? He said, Tim Duncan. He said, what? He's not playing? well, that doesn't really surprise me. They've been very successful with what they do. Yeah, that was the right way. He was stunned. I mean, it caught him off guard. But I can tell you this: San Antonio's still gonna get up all in them.
Oh yeah.
And they're not gonna do like Cleveland, try to play small. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna play what they do. They're gonna do what they're gonna play how they play. And Golden State beats them, they're gonna have to beat them. He's not gonna sit there and go 4 guards and 3 man at center. He's not gonna do that. And Popovich wouldn't show what his plan was anyway. He's gonna pick and probe you and then see what you do and how you respond.
Oh yeah, right now is a chance. This is a chance to work some things out to see how things work. See if Kawhi Leonard could guard maybe Steph, or who do you put Kawhi almost Steph? Do you put it on Draymond Green? You can work some little things out here like that. So it's Pop knows what he's doing. I mean, he is if not the best coach in the league. I mean, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head better right now. Not active anyway.
Not active. Oh, you weren't making a reference to David Blatt, were you? Moving right along. We had another question, Mick and Rick, and I'm gonna give this one to you, Rick. They ask, why do they play the championship games like this past Sunday with a later starting time than what they normally have on Sunday games? Oh, I got it. Usually they play the Sunday games 1 and 4. Even a doubleheader game.
Okay.
But I think last night's game started much later. And
not much later.
It was 3:15, wasn't it?
Yeah,
First
3
game.
and 6. Yeah. It wasn't much later. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So they wanted you to. So that was your answer, that it wasn't much later.
Do I think was the question? Do I think it had an effect on
No,
the game?
they just wanted to know why would the networks move them later than that? Why did they move them later than normal starts?
Make sure everyone's home from church. No, seriously.
Well,
I mean,
no, Rick. Is that because
people...
in certain churches y'all stay so late and they were trying to give you time to get home? Because in black church you got to leave early.
Baptist church.
That's right.
The Baptist church sometimes they be going on. They start at 11 and end at 2:15
on an early one.
Oh yeah. We're not talking about Communion Sunday.
Yeah, that's why some of us catch that 7:30, 7:45 service, so you can be back in time.
Exactly. Yeah, but I do believe that has a lot to do with it. They want as many people watching these games as possible. And I think I just read that New England game had 49 million. See if I can find it right quick. But it was a record amount of people who watch that game, that 49ers game. Mm-hmm. And so, if you want to go to a quick dinner after church, then that'll allow you to do that too. If you eat your dinner, real early. So these things.
No. You're gonna eat that dinner at the house. The only way you eating a dinner in a restaurant is trying to appease the missus so you can keep a little peace. Otherwise, we trying to get finger food, get in front of the TV, and eat the rest of the afternoon. But going to get dinner on game day, that's kind of rough there.
Some people have to do that though, Coach. Some people, their wives will be like, and after church, you taking me to dinner. I ain't cooking nothing. You don't have to cook.
We're going to stop over there at Kentucky Fried Chicken, who make the best chicken in the world. Get a bucket if you want. We're going to head to his house. And then they get smart. Don't you have TiVo that you got it taped? I don't know if I taped the game or not. We're going to have to get back to the house so we could turn it on.
That's right.
Now, for those of us who don't have a choice, you end up watching it on TV. At least you get to fast forward the commercials before you catch up. So you can put it on fast forward and get caught up. But if you think that you had it on TiVo and went to the house and found out you didn't,
ooh,
that's a sick feeling.
Ooh, Ugh.
That's a sick feeling. That doesn't go over too well.
Not too well. Not too well at all. Nope. 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 Nope.
Last thing before we wrap it up for this week, tell me, the NBA trying to make sure they maximize dollars, moving some of their games to prime time on Saturday. Good move, bad move.
Good move.
Why?
I mean, anytime you get your game on national TV is a good thing. And if you want to start a tradition, a Saturday night basketball, I mean, why not? I mean, we're used to it on Sundays, Sunday afternoons after the Super Bowl. I love it. Being a basketball fan, I could, if you had a game of the day, I would be fine with it. So, yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, sure, a lot of people do. They have other things to do on Saturday nights. But if you have matchups like the Spurs and Bulls, or what was it the other night? Was it the Spurs and Bulls the other night? It was the Bulls or somebody. It was Cleveland. It was the Bulls of Cleveland on Saturday night.
Yeah. I was trying not to remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was good because I didn't think about it at first. I was watching other things, and then I was like, oh, snap, the NBA. And so I think it's a good thing. And if you do it often enough, people will catch on.
Do you think it's going to end up taking away from the college game?
It all depends on how good the games are. I mean, right now, you're right. We have college on our minds on Saturday nights. Mm-hmm. But if it's a good NBA matchup, then yeah, I'm sure it'll take away from that Duke Syracuse game. But if the matchup isn't that good, then hey, do like we always do. Flip the channel.
Oh, no, not flip the channel. Rick, we're going to wrap it up. I said that a minute ago, and we're looking at the clock. We got Ben Simmons from LSU. Have you seen him yet? Thoughts on it?
Seen just a little bit of him. Haven't seen him for an entire game, but what I've seen is the young man has skills. I kind of like this kid. He's lanky, has a nice little touch.
Linky, I like that word, linky. He's linky.
He has a nice little touch.
Okay.
I think he's legit.
Saw him when they beat Kentucky. Got excited. Went down to Gainesville to see him play at Florida. Should have called you so you could have came over and hung out with me.
See how you treat your little brother.
See how I do you. That was wrong. You're right. You're wrong. Once I went down that road, I knew I had traveled too far. Hung out in Gainesville. Got a good place down there to get some barbecue. Yeah, I had to tell you about that. Went down there, had some good barbecue. But it was not the same team that had beat Kentucky 3 or 4 days earlier. 6'10", left-handed, handles the ball exceptionally well for his height and size. Wasn't aggressive enough to me, but he's a young kid, 18. Go to basket left, shoot it right, even-handed, gets hit, takes it. Looks to pass, but have to go to a team that has some scores on it because he doesn't look too scored. But he's athletic now. He's going to be the number 1 pick. Kentucky, they were fired up for him, and I was glad to see him win because Johnny Jones was already catching a lot of heat because they were not winning like some people had thought they would. But they had just gotten 2 kids back when they beat Kentucky. They weren't eligible the first semester. He has talent. We might have to get together some point and try and catch him again before he gets to the NBA. But he's a talented kid, Rick. He's a talented kid. And it is not like anybody in college basketball is really grabbing your attention as much watch TV now.
No. And I don't think that's a bad thing if you have teams that are doing well. If you have teams like a Duke or a UCLA or something. I'm just throwing out names right now, but that's fine that we don't have that one superstar, even though we love seeing superstars. We all love superstars, but I mean, I still love basketball is the ultimate team game. And no one when those San Antonio Spurs whip that ball around and all 5 players touch that ball and it leads to a layup or open 3, there's nothing better. You know. So hey, I don't mind that there's no real superstars in college basketball. Just play the game the right way, and I'm happy.
Well, it's mostly the schools and the teams, like Rick Pitino. It's just certain places you identify with now. But when we get ready to do the NCAA March Madness, this will be a year that there will be several sleeper schools that get in there because, you know, it's no real dominant teams that scare people. And when you have a situation like that, you know, those teams who can get by that first round, that upset, if they keep that emotion in check without having a coach able to prepare for them for a week and just have a day to get ready to play for them, we're going to have some teams get to the Sweet 16 that we didn't imagine.
And if you have a senior-laden team with good guards, you need good guard play in the NCAA tournament. No matter what else you have, you need solid guard play. And if you have an experienced team, you're right. This could be the year that they could go a mighty long way.
You're right. And we thank everybody for being with us today on Mick and Rick. And we'll be back next Monday, hopefully closer to 11 at a time where we learn how to navigate this to make it a smoother transition. But this is Mick of Mick and Rick. Rick, let's sign off.
Hey, this is Rick. Hey, you know I got to give it up. Yo.
Oh, there he goes with the yo. This is Insights. The mic is off.
1, 2, go, get go!
Thanks to the crew. Arnett Moore, our music producer. Julio, the voice of one, our blogger. And our producer, Gerald Tooks of G Squared Productions. Talk to you soon. Insights.
Go, get go!
INSiiGHTS is a copyright of Mac 4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac 4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac 4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent their independent thoughts and representations.